All right, so I'm gonna leave these out for now, but if you want, we can talk about them after class or later. This is just a way to um, get output of a file and kind of redirect it in a different way, and then there's a way to get the output of a command using in a for loop, for example. Well, I can cover this one really quickly. So you can do for I in and use this backtick ls. So what this would do is list all the files in your directory and use those as the entry as the values of a variable. So you can do echo $i done. So this is basically listing all the files in the directory. But it's in this case it's storing them, so we could do things to those files or rename them or open them or do lots of things like that. But I do want to talk about wildcards and brace expansion. So if we just type ls, we can see what's in our file. But let's say we only want to list the markdown files. So we can do ls.md, and now it will just list those files that are .md files. Or we could do ls.csv. This would be very similar to doing ls and then grep.csv. Kind of the same idea, but a little different. Grep has more power than just using the wildcards. So in addition to this is the star matches any string of characters. We also have the question mark. So we can do ls lesson 0 question mark .md, and this will match anything that begins with lesson 0 and then has any character and then followed by a .md. We could do ls anything that has 3 characters. Each one of those question marks is a character. We can do. We can also match characters in a set. So we could do any ls any character that begins with F or B, followed by any characters. Or we could see any files that don't begin with F or B and get the values of those. So what we're doing here is we're saying we're going to list everything that doesn't begin with an F or B, and then is followed by any character. Now, this next one works better with echo. So we were talking before about this operator when we did for loops. So if we do echo brace 1 ... 3, that will give us 1, 2, 3 with spaces between them. So this works with a lot of different things. It works with numbers. And it will give us, for this, in this case, it's integers, so it's integers including the first number up to and including the last number. It also works with numbers. We could do, for example, A to G, or or lowercase letters. Let's see what happens if we do this. Interesting. So it's using the ASCII, I think, codes to determine this. So we're actually getting from A all the way to G. So let's see what happens if we do. I'm just playing around here now. Okay, so there's some of these work better than others, but in any case, there's some. The main function would be, for example, to if you wanted to do. So here's an example. So we can say for I in one to 3, do head lesson $0.i.md, and what it did was it said, okay, for I in 1, 2, 3, give me the first 10 lines of lesson 0.1, 0.2, 0.3.md. So we're getting first 10 lines of lesson 1, first 10 lines of lesson 2, and the first 10 lines of lesson 3. It also understands multiple strings, so we could do echo this is the example shown on the lesson. So what here is happening is in the braces we're putting 3 different things separated by commas, and it's going to expand those out and print out the value of that with those 2 letters on either side. So finally, I'm going to expand my window here. We've got a lot of control keys. I won't go through these one by one, but if you want to have more control over your terminal, you can use special control keys. So on the Mac, you can go on the terminal, you can go back to terminal and hit Command comma, and you're going to want to, sorry, this is small, but you're going to want to have this use option as meta key selected. And when you do that, you'll be able to use not just the control key, but also the alt key will be now the option key. There should be something similar on Windows and PCs. So we've already seen, actually I do have the Control Z, I forgot about that. So the question earlier about how to interrupt a process is both Control C and Control Z. And there's a similar one, Control D, which is kind of like running exit. I don't typically use that. There's a bunch of other commands to control the screen. You can clear the screen, stop output. Lots of different things. You can move the cursor around in different ways, delete text, swap one word with the previous word, swap characters, undo things, cut and paste commands, capitalize letters, and then our favorite is tab completion. This is to automatically fill out the file directory or command you're typing as much as the computer can. Also, there's some command history shortcuts. So the main ones you need to know are tab, this up and down arrow for previous commands, and then the Control C is the main one. Control Z can also be useful. The rest of these are more optional, allowing you to control as much as you want with just keystrokes. So don't worry about memorizing all these. The things that we've covered in the tutorial will be enough for you now, and but this is here as a reference if you want to kind of expand your skill set. And I should say that these are all Emacs style shortcuts. If you want to use the VI style shortcuts, you can change the default using this set-o command. Otherwise, just leave it as is. But that's the end of the command line tutorial. There's a lot more you can dig into, and but this should give you enough skills to be able to do a lot and to kind of deal with files, run different commands, and for the rest of the course, we'll be using Python. So that's the main topic, of course, and but I think this is really critical to get comfortable with your computer.
So is the command line basically just to preview data, for example, or and just manipulate files? Like, where does it fall in with Python?
Mm-hmm.
Can you do the same thing with Python?
So the command line, once you start to realize what you can do, the command line is incredibly powerful. We've seen some things, but also you can run. This is the home base for running like any. So if you do bioinformatics, any bioinformatics program is typically going to be available from the command line. If you any other kind of software can be run directly from the command line. With regard to Python, yes, typically this is an entry point. You can launch like the Jupyter Notebook or the Ipython Notebook, which we'll use a lot. You can also launch the Ipython interpreter or Python. So you don't have to do this now, but you can just type Python and it will open up a prompt. And now I'm in Python, and I can do all kinds of magical things with Python. I can also open up a program called Ipython, which is a same thing, but it's a slightly more advanced version. It's an interactive Python shell, where I can also do all kinds of Python things. So this is really like how your entry point to computing on a kind of more advanced level. But yeah, for the most part, we'll do more. We'll use the notebook environment, which we launched from here. Any other questions? Okay, I'll see you guys on Wednesday.